a bipartisan coalition in the House has actually done an appropriations amendment, passed an appropriations amendment that would stop the DEA from going after medicinal marijuana growers. So as you guys know, marijuana laws differ from state to state. In some states you have recreational marijuana that's completely legal. That's in Colorado and Washington. And in other states, about 22 of them and the District of Columbia, you can actually get medicinal marijuana. Well, the federal government, including the DEA, would go in and raid growers, and they would face federal criminal charges as a result of that. But now the House is saying no more of that. It's a waste of resources, and we really need to rethink the way we're doing things. So let me tell you what Representative Dana Rohrabacher says. Some people are suffering, and if a doctor feels that he needs to prescribe something to alleviate that suffering, it is immoral for the government to get in the way. And that's what's happening. And I love that, because here you have an actual bipartisan effort, and it's going to lead to real change, real progress when it comes to the prohibition on marijuana.
Yeah, I mean, I love this story. I actually have someone that's very close to me that works on a marijuana farm in California. So that means it's legal here in California, but illegal federally. And she has been concerned. Could the feds just come in and arrest her, take all the money that she's earned legally? I mean, all kinds of things. So this is all good. And as far as the medicinal part, we've talked about this a lot. But the idea that the government would come in and stop you from doing something that was alleviating pain in your body.
Right.
This is one of the issues that the Republicans should be all about.
Yeah, if you really care about personal liberty, this is a perfect example of that. You should be able to take whatever it is that will end your suffering or alleviate the pain that you're in.
Yeah, somehow that hypocrisy is lost on them. I don't know why exactly. But yes, this is all good. The next step in this will be that they'll stop raiding the actual dispensaries, which they still can do. And they raided the dispensary that's a couple blocks from my apartment maybe 2 months ago.
Wow.
So that still goes down. But this is a good first step. And I don't think anyone's going to fight this, because the tea leaves or the marijuana leaves are changing. And you're not going to win this battle.
Yeah, you're not going to win this battle, especially when you look at public opinion. So let's look at two different polls. A recent Pew survey found that 67% of Americans support drug policies that focus on providing treatment rather than an arrest and prosecution. And that goes back to a story we did earlier on a SWAT team raid that occurred in Georgia. They threw a stun grenade into a toddler's crib, and now the toddler is severely burned. I mean, you wouldn't have situations like that if you focused more on rehabilitating people and you focused more on treatment as opposed to prosecution. And another poll, a recent CBS poll found that 86% think doctors should be able to prescribe marijuana to seriously ill patients. That's the vast majority of Americans. So that's good news. Things are changing in America, and anti-marijuana people cannot fight it.
Yeah, and this also shows how silly the idea of the war on drugs is, that we tied marijuana to these other things. So you can, I know you're big on decriminalizing. You want to decriminalize pretty much all of it, right?
I would rather decriminalize and educate people and spend that money on treatment than anything else.
Right, so even for someone that wasn't, say, so one way with that, the idea that they linked marijuana with cocaine or with meth, that the fight against drugs, that they linked it to that, was so stupid, because they ended up causing more people to do hard drugs. Because if you tried weed, you would giggle and do something, and and whatever, and be fine, and then you'd go, wait a minute. They've been telling me weed is terrible, but I just tried weed and it's pretty good. Then maybe I'm going to try some of that other stuff.
Right.
So we got to, whether you want drugs fully legal or not, we have to remove weed from the equation. Weed needs to be taken out and just legalized, and that's it. And then we can deal with some of the others.
No, but what the incredible part about that is, the incredible thing about this is, you have professionals, you have healthcare providers that are saying, hey, you know what, this marijuana has medicinal use. It alleviates pain and suffering. People are using it for children who have severe seizures, and it's helping to alleviate that as well.
Cancer patients who have no appetite.
Exactly, it helps them eat. I mean, there are medicinal benefits to using marijuana, and you don't necessarily have to smoke it. You can actually take it in a pill form where it doesn't even have the psychoactive ingredient, and it still does the same thing in terms of helping with the pain. But what's amazing to me is you have lawmakers in the country that refuse to buy that evidence. They refuse to look at it, and they still think it's a Schedule I drug. It's insane.
But
it doesn't make any
this goes
sense.
to what I'm saying, because when they decided on the war on drugs, they included all the drugs,
Right.
and that was the mistake. If you would have just had a rational policy, and we would have been able to say, weed isn't necessarily as addictive, or, I hadn't smoked weed in a couple months until this past weekend.
Yeah.
I literally took one puff on a beautiful day and lounged out in the pool, and I assure you, I did nothing illegal or immoral or anything of that nature. It was just pretty damn great.